Hello everyone, it's Mr. Burden, and the purpose of this video is to go ahead and essentially set you up for success in our digital technologies course. I'm essentially going to give you an overview and show you a bunch of the things that you need to know to be successful in this class. So I'm going to go ahead and get to it. First things first, I figure I might as well introduce myself. There's me, there's my mugshot over on the right. My name is Mr. Burden, and I'll be your teacher this semester. This is my 10th year teaching business education, and my second year with eAchieve Academy. So before eAchieve, I taught at Waukesha North, I taught at Oak Creek High School for 6 years, and Racine Horlick for 2 years. I have a background in marketing. That's what I got my bachelor's in from UW-Whitewater. And then I worked in marketing for a couple years and then decided to go back to school to pursue my master's degree in teaching. Definitely really happy that I made that move. Teaching is definitely something I am passionate about, and I really do enjoy having the opportunity to teach you the different things that we're going to go over in this course. As far as on a personal note, you may have saw that I have 3 kids in my announcement. There they are right there. So I'm married with 3 kids. As other hobbies, interests I have, definitely like a big sports fan. I like the Brewers, the Bucks, the Packers, Marquette for college basketball, and then actually Nebraska Cornhuskers for football. I'm also really into reading and TV shows, and also just technologies as well. So even if I didn't teach this course, this is something that I'm naturally interested in. So it's nice for me to be able to share this kind of stuff with you. All right, next thing I want to go into is course information. So here's a little bit about the course. I'll just kind of read it verbatim real quickly here. Technology impacts every facet of your life with immediate access to information. The rapid growth of emerging technology challenges you to stay current for personal and future professional development. This course will focus on learning about a vast number of digital technologies, including autonomous vehicles, virtual reality, voice facial recognition software, smart wearables, and many more. You'll also learn what it means to be a good digital citizen by considering right and wrong as it exists in the virtual world. This includes how to effectively communicate and collaborate with others in the digital world. You will learn how to harness the power of these new technologies and discover the implications these technologies have in our lives. So that's just a nice little short snippet, and I think it describes our course rather well. There are 3 learning targets that you are going to try to meet this semester, and I anticipate that you will. So these are the 3 right here. You do have to pass all 3 to pass the course. So essentially a passing grade, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit, is advanced, proficient, or approaching. But every assessment that you complete in this course is going to be tied to one of these 3 targets, and I always indicate which one they're tied to in a couple different ways on the PACE chart and also in the lessons folder. I'll show you that. Next, grading policies. So as I mentioned, we have our 3 learning targets. So then we also have formative and summative assessments. So formative assessments are going to be colored in blue on your PACE chart, and also they're going to be in blue text in the lessons folder. Formative assessments are essentially meant to set you up for success on the summative assessments. I will grade those, and your grade will appear as either an S or a U. S for satisfactory, U for unsatisfactory. I'm a teacher that definitely does not believe in any busy work. So any work that I give you, it's definitely meant to put you in a position to succeed on the summatives. The summatives are in red on the PACE chart and also in the lessons folder. These are the ones that count towards your final grade. So you will get one of these 5 grades right here on your summative assessments. So ADV is advanced, then proficient, then we got approaching. So those first 3 right there are are the passing grades. Those are all passing grades. You should think of advanced like an A, proficient like a B, and approaching like a C. INC stands for incomplete, and what that means is that you submitted the assignment, but it's just not up to a passing level. So it's incomplete right now because it's not to a passing level. The other one you might see that is also not a passing grade is NEE, and that stands for not enough evidence. And essentially what that means is maybe you submitted something and like your link doesn't work, or you submitted like a blank assignment on accident or something along those lines, and I just don't have enough evidence to grade it, or you submitted the wrong thing. That would be like an NEE, just because I don't have evidence to go ahead and grade it. Revision policy. So you are definitely allowed revisions, and I encourage it. One thing that you will find is that I give you feedback on every single assignment that you will submit, and I'll show you how to check that in a little bit. But just know that, so essentially how it works is for all your assessments in this course, you get 2 initial attempts up front. So every assessment in the course, you'll be allowed 2 attempts. After you make your first attempt, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into My Grades and check the feedback. So I'll just jump to that right now. So here's your My Grades. This is definitely something you want to look out for. So you jump into My Grades. These and let's say it's the Week 02 online shopping and teens. What you would do is you would look over here on the right. Okay, and that's where you would see the grade. That's where you would see what you got. Next to that is going to be a little talk or bubble icon, and that's going to be, if you click that, that's where you can see the feedback that I give you. So like I said, every assessment that you submit, I will give you feedback. My feedback typically is going to consist of, some things that you did well, potentially some things you could improve upon, maybe like a question to get you thinking and try and challenge you a little bit. But all my feedback is intended to be helpful, specific. Now I'm losing my train of thought in this video. Helpful, specific, and honest. There's the other word I was looking for. And so just make sure you read that if you are going to submit a second time. So check that first before you go ahead and do it. If you need a third attempt, what I find best is that you email me. The reason being is I find if I keep giving third, fourth, fifth, etc. attempts in Blackboard, it doesn't work all that well. It just takes a while to solve what's going wrong and why it's maybe not up to a passing level. So I'll ask you to email me. Oftentimes what I want you to do is I want you to demonstrate to me that you know what to fix and revise via email, and ask for another attempt when you do so, and show me your new revised assignment and what you changed. Then I can look at it, and if it's up to a passing level, I will give you that third attempt. If it's not, then I'll just email you back and give you some direction on what you need to do to get it up to a passing level. But I find at that point email works a little bit better to accomplish that. There may be times where I ask you to complete additional formative assessments. I also expect that if you're asking for an additional attempt, that you have already completed your formative assessments in blue. So advanced work, just follow the rubrics. Every summative assessment in this course is going to have a rubric that'll lay that out for you. Like I said, you do need to pass all 3 learning targets. Here is specific of what you would need to do just to pass the course. This isn't necessarily to get an A, this is to pass the course. To pass the course, there are 7 digital rights for Target 1 assessments, and you need to pass 6 of them. For the Society and Economy learning target, 6 of 7 as well, and for the Communication, 5 of the 6. You will have to complete your final target assessment to pass the course. So of these, 6, and 5 up here, one of them has to be the final. It has to include the final project. And then right here, this is how your grade is going to be determined. So for instance, there's 3 learning targets. If you got an advanced on one and proficient on the other 2, that comes out to an AB. So this is something that I will follow like to a T. It's what all eAchieve teachers follow. So right at the end of the course, you'll get a semester grade. Let me talk a little bit more about what you can see in My Grades. So right at the top here, these are your 3 learning targets, and once we start going in the course, at a certain point you'll notice that you'll get an overall grade. So what your overall learning target is going to be determined on is, for instance, target 1, on how well you do on all the target 1 assessments. So essentially I'm going to take like a big picture view of all the different target 1 assessments. You can see here, like for week 04 digital responsibilities, there's target 1, there's another target 1, and there's several more in here. So to determine your current grade up here in blue, it's going to be based on all the assessments that you've submitted so far for that one. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing for target 2 and target 3. But one really important thing to note is that, let's say you have an approaching in target 1, and it's an approaching, then you submit like 3 more target 1 assessments and you get advanced on all of them, but you look up here and it still says approaching for target 1. Well, what that probably means is that I just haven't updated the overall learning target grades since you've turned those in and have been graded. So when I grade your assessments, your overall learning target grade doesn't automatically update. So that's a real key thing to note, is they don't automatically update it. What I have to do is I will manually update it. How will you know if I manually updated your target grade? I will send out an announcement. Okay, so I will post it in our class. I will also email it out, and I'll say, something along the lines of, and anyone who has all assessments that were turned in before 11 a.m. on this date have been graded and given feedback, and learning targets have been updated based on all those grades. So you'll know, then you can jump in here and you can see what your new learning target grade is. And you can also see that here are all your assignments. If you click in My Grades, you want to be under the All tab, I would say. I mean, you could use these other tabs for different ones, but All kind of gives you that big picture view. You can see I have it ordered in class order, which puts it in sequential order here. So this is a real nice way that you can go ahead and see all the assessments at once. If you see this little dash over here, what that means is that you have not submitted this assignment yet, okay? So pay attention to that. And if you have submitted it yet, but it's still showing that dash, go back and find that assessment in the lesson folder, look at the submission instructions, and just make sure you followed that, because maybe you just didn't quite submit it right. When you do submit something and I haven't graded it yet, you're going to see like a yellow exclamation point. What that means is exactly what I said, that I need to grade it. You've submitted it and you're just waiting for a grade from me. Otherwise, you're going to see, if it's a formative assessment, an S or a U, or you're going to see those other grades for summatives, the advanced, proficient, approaching, incomplete, or not enough evidence. So it's got it all right here. So definitely My Grades is a great way, a great thing to go ahead and utilize. All right, I talked about announcements a little bit. The main thing I just want to emphasize real quick is I don't get to talk to you, each and every day like I would in a face-to-face traditional classroom. So one of the main ways that I'm going to be communicating with you, in addition to our e-sessions, are the announcements. So make sure that when you're emailed an announcement or you see one posted, that you don't just like ignore it and delete it, because this is like my main mode of communication, to get things to you that you need to know. So if I make an announcement, it's something important that I want you to be aware of, and again, it's all about setting you up for success. So make sure to check those out. Next thing is that I want to go into is Pace Chart. Okay. So Pace Chart is exactly what it sounds like. to stay on pace with our course, here's what you should be doing each week. You can see we have week 1, and then I have what you need to do right here. Week 2, like I said before, everything in blue is a formative assessment. Everything in red is a summative assessment. And one thing I actually noticed is I want to actually have that e-session on there in every week, which I'll talk about that next. So when you actually look at this pace chart, it'll be updated. It'll have the join our live e-session in each week. I must have accidentally missed that. So this is really cool, or this is a really good thing to follow, but what's really cool is if you go into the Student Resource Center and you scroll down to Pace Chart Central, if you log in right here, what you'll have access to, just note that for your password, it's just your student ID number. It's not the it doesn't include your safe word. So, but once you log in right here, what's neat is you'll have an option where you can click to see this Digital Technologies Pace Chart, and these little things right here, you can actually check off as you complete them, and they will save. As long as you go through this process right here, by logging in, it will automatically save for you. So that's a real nice way to, if you're in the middle of something and you have to stop your work, if you are keeping track of this, you'll always know like where you left off and what you were working on. So that's the thing that's actually new this year. That's pretty cool too. What these little symbols mean is anytime you see the AR, there's an activity report that comes out every Monday. I think the first one comes out in week 2, but it could be like week 3 or 4. That's emailed to you and your parents or guardians, and it'll essentially like give an overview of like any assignments that you're missing in your eAchieve classes. So if it has an AR, that means this is going to show up on the activity report. The T3 here, T1, T3, T2, those are all for your summative assessments, which learning target they match up with. So that's another way that you can check which learning target we're aiming for. Let's see, e-sessions. Okay, to join our e-session, our e-sessions are going to be on Mondays at 9 a.m. To join it, you just click the live e-sessions. And then you just essentially click this course room right here, and then you go to join course room. Then you'll be in our live e-session. So I definitely encourage and want people to come to the e-sessions. They're always way more interesting with the more students that we have. This is also your time to go ahead and ask specific questions about things to me, and I'm there live to go ahead and answer. Or let's say you're not understanding how to do something, I can go ahead and demonstrate how to do it in the e-session. So this is kind of like our time. Like imagine, if you compare it to a traditional classroom where like I'm there, you're there, and you could just raise your hand, ask a question, things along those lines. All live. If you're not able to make it, like for instance, I know a lot of you in this course maybe go to a different high school and you're in class on Mondays at 9 a.m. All live e-sessions are recorded. So after they've been done, you can go over and click this recorded e-sessions. Since we haven't had one yet, because our first one is week 2, this is empty, but then you'll be able to go ahead and click this link and be able to watch them, and they're real easy to watch. All right, next I'll go into the lessons folder. So lessons folder, this is where you're going to find all your work, and it's organized by week. Okay, so for instance, if I were to pick on the week 2 folder, what you'll see right off the bat is what to do in week 2. These are all your activities right here that I want you to complete this week, and I put them in sequential order. So go ahead and read through that, watch any videos that I have in here. Then you'll see your different assessments. This first one is a formative one right here, and then you can go ahead and read the instructions on your own. You can see I have a rubric right there. As far as submitting this assessment, I'll always have some sort of submission instructions in the assessment directions themselves. I'll just give a quick demo of how to submit this one in particular, just because a lot of the the same thing can apply to most of the assessments in here. So there's multiple ways that you can do it. One is you could you could click this right here, and you could type your answers in the right submission box, okay? And I always want you to number your prompts, and you could scroll up, look at number 1, and then, write what you need to down here. Then press enter, scroll up, go to number 2, and then enter it, right here. So that's one way to do it. Or what you could do is you could, if you have a Google Doc, as long as you have your Google Doc share settings right, and I demonstrate how to do that in a different video in the week 1 folder, you can copy and paste your Google Doc link right in here, and then scroll down and press submit, and as long as your share settings are set properly, I'll be able to click that link and access your answers there. Another thing you can do is you can use Microsoft Word, save it to your computer, and then you would just go into the browse my computer and find it wherever you saved it, and then once you click it, click open, and then you just go down and submit. All right, let's see. Oh, last thing I want to talk about is discussion boards. So in discussion boards, there's one right away in week 1 called Digital Technologies and You. So for discussion boards, the main thing that I want to point out is that you're expected to do 3 posts, at least 3 posts anytime you do a discussion board. The first one is going to be your original post where you respond to the prompts that I pose right here, your second and your third are going to be responses to others. So a few things to note is that you're not going to be able to see other people's discussions, what they posted, until you post your own original one. Once you post that original one, you'll be able to see what other people posted as well, and then you can respond to that. But what happens too sometimes is students will post that original post, they'll forget to do the 2 other ones, and they'll think they're done, like the 2 responses, and they'll think they're done with the assessment. The way I have my settings set to is that once your assessment, this assessment right here, is not going to get flagged as needs grading until you've made that 3rd post. So once you've made that 3rd post, what Blackboard does is it sends your assessment, if I click on this needs grading right here, to that area where if I click it, and your assessment is going to pop up right there, and I'm going to be able to click and grade it. So the real big thing I just want to point out is don't think that you can make that original post and then just you're done and I'm going to grade it, because it's not even going to get flagged as needs grading because you haven't done those 2 responses yet. Well, I think that's pretty much it as far as the things that I wanted to show you to get you started in this course. I am definitely looking forward to working with you this semester, and thanks for watching. Bye.